Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's conversation with myself, Sarah Jane, and with my co-host, Enolia. I nearly said that wrong for some reason. I apologise.
It's quite all right. It's quite all right. Hello, everyone. It's so great to see everyone out there.
Oh, Enolia, and it's just Enolia and I for the second time this month because we decided we were going to. Plus, the fact this is actually a program that we were going to record in the summer, and unfortunately, I think you weren't well, were you?
Yes, it was me. Yes.
Yeah. So the topic of this program is it is always your choice. Mind you, it feels like Hobson's choice at times. Now, I don't know whether many people know what Hobson's choice means, but it basically means that it's which is the lesser of two evils.
I know.
I don't feel you have much choice at all. But something sort of recently that has been more and more obvious to me is about the word judgment of other people and their choices. Because we actually have no idea what their choices were. And so how can we look at somebody, and this is very definitely from my perspective and thoughts that have been going through my head recently, how can we look at somebody and say, what the heck did you do that for? Because we have no idea what is going on in somebody else's life. We'd all like the respect of other people to not judge us for the choices we make because they're not living in our shoes. Your thoughts, Enolia?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, we have this thing. We're living in a time where instant gratification is always the case, right? We want things done instantly. Otherwise, we have a judgment about them. But really, what that has done is that's shaped who we are as individuals today a great deal. So we no longer have the patience that we had. We no longer want to wait for anything. We no longer want to step back and really take a look at what the complete scenario is. We just want to instantly respond. It comes from habits, right? We instantly respond on the phone. We instantly want our food so that we can go quickly. We won't want to take time to even eat because we have other things to do. We're doing our running around for the day quickly, rapidly, so that we can get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And really to step back and understand that a person is making a choice based on an experience, based on a happening, based on a relationship. There are many facets to why people make the choices that they make. And we want to instantly judge. And if it doesn't fit in our own framework or somewhere based on our belief system, we want to condemn it. So, yeah, there's a lot of that.
And so I think this is, for me, it's then thinking about, okay, do we have choice? And what choices do we make? You know, we're very good at, I do my best to stay out of judgment. And I do my best to think, okay, what is going on for that individual, that they've done that thing, they've made that choice, whatever. Because we just don't know. But other people don't know about what's going on in our lives either. And this has been, we're talking about this in respect of you as an individual, the choices you make. So the choices I make are from the choices I have and the choices I'm aware of. Because I think sometimes we have to realize that We may look at a situation and think you've got that choice, that choice, that choice. But they may be looking at that same situation and thinking they've got totally different choices to the ones that crop up in my head and my mind. Because of our different experiences, our different knowledge, our different education, our different bringing up in a different type of family, it doesn't matter, does it? We are all unique, and our experiences have shaped us and how we react to things, what we create in our own lives. And it's just because we look at a situation and think that you've got that, that, and that, you can take a choice from all three of those. They may not see those three at all.
So that's interesting, because if you take that same scenario and you get that person who typically goes, "But I had no choice." It's not that you didn't have a choice. You always have a choice, and that's my experience. You always have a choice. However, when you opened up the show, you talked about the lesser of two evils. Well, when we look at choices that we have and we don't like them, really, a lot of times we respond to the choice based on pain factor. How much pain we're causing or how much pain we perceive will be incurred. And then if we know that pain is going to be received or incurred from both choices, then we go, "Oh, but I really don't have a choice. And I don't want to go to the ultimate pain, so I'll just take the lesser pain, but it's a pain." Where maybe the ultimate pain is where you needed to be in the first place, and you needed to stand in your authenticity, face the fact that pain is going to be caused, and that I'd rather have it caused now than be even more so down the road by making a poor choice. And that, we have to learn as individuals that the right choice always isn't going to be the less painful choice. The best choice isn't always going to be the easy choice. The choice that truly allows us to move through the story of whatever we're trying to work through may be a challenge to ourselves and the ultimate of whatever we've ever had to do in our lives. And because it's painful is the reason why we should step through it and move through it. And that our belief systems do shape how we make choices, and the traumas that we've gone through shape how we make choices. And that all of this is a part of the makeup, unconsciously, sometimes consciously, of when we're evaluating choices. What are your thoughts, Sarah Jane?
Well, absolutely. Okay, let's go into an actual example in my own life.
Okay.
Let's be absolutely open and honest about this. Because there have been, I'm sure, for every single one of us. But there's a tough choice to make. And I put it off for years. That's getting out of a relationship, which resulted in me getting married when I should never have got married. And then eventually it was having to bring a marriage to an end, not just a relationship to an end. But what I found with that, was easy. Was it easier to stay where I was? For the however many years it was that I was there that I shouldn't have been there. It felt easier to stay than to hurt somebody. And what the heck was I going to do because we lived together? Where was I going to go? There was an awful lot around that choice of staying and leaving. And so the easy choice was to stay. But you know what? That wasn't comfortable. And I think I've actually just described it this way before. It felt we were living in parallel ruts. His was lined with rose petals. Mine was lined with rose thorns. And it got to the stage I couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
I couldn't take it. Don't get me wrong. He was not abusing me. There was nothing like that. No, no. There was my fault in there as well, if you want to use the word fault. I shouldn't have been in that relationship for the length of time I was. And I didn't want to hurt him. But the truth is, by staying, I was continually hurting me.
Yeah.
And so I brought it to an end. And as strange as this might sound, it wasn't, don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't as tough and as difficult as my mind made it out to be. I was very lucky. For a short while, I was able to go into the spare bedroom, so I didn't get kicked out of the house. He didn't leave it either, which was fair of comment. I was the one breaking the marriage up. There wasn't anybody else. It's not as if they had another relationship I was in. There wasn't anybody else. And then I moved into a little house. Then we got told we were getting made redundant. And the whole load of stuff all happened at the same time. But you know what? Once I'd started the ball rolling, somebody may think, hang on, what she said? She's got an end to a marriage. She's being made redundant. What the heck's going on in her life? My reaction was, hated the job anyways. The universe was taking care of things in the most amazing way for me, because I had the courage to do what I needed to do. I hurt him. I couldn't do anything about that. I had to stop hurting me.
Yeah. And, I want to capitalize on the fact that you said it takes courage. And I want to talk to our audience about courage. That brings me to a story also. I remember when I was a teenager, actually my early 20s, not even a teenager, my early 20s, before I got married. I was going out with a boyfriend. We went to a happy hour together, and he knew that I wasn't a big drinker. And, I've never just been a big drinker. And he, by himself, ordered like a fishbowl glass of alcoholic beverage. And I'm looking at this, and then he ordered me water because he knew I wasn't a drinker. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So my first choice was, did I want to remain with him being in one state of mind and I being in another state of mind? And my decision was, no, I don't. So I got up and I said, you know what? Have a great time. I'll see you later. I'm out. And I got up and I walked away, and he came out of the bar running after me, basically saying, wait, what are you doing? Why are you leaving? It's like, I just don't choose to be in a situation where you're in one state of mind and I'm in another. That just, it's a waste of my time. Why would I want to be here? And then his response to me was, oh, are you trying to tell me I can't drink? I said, no, you're a grown man. I don't tell you can't drink. You can do whatever you want. Absolutely, you can drink, but you forget that I have a choice. And my choice is, do I want to sit here and watch a grown man drink and wait for you to figure out that the more that you abuse your body like this, it leads only to one place? And really, do I want to wait around for you to figure it out and grow up? And it's just like, no, I really don't. So I have a choice, and my choice is I choose to leave. Have a good time. I want you to enjoy yourself. That's your choice. Your choice will lead to one place in life. Mine will lead me another. I'm okay with that. And he didn't know how to respond because I didn't say no. I didn't want to impose. But on the same token, I had a choice. And I went home and I felt really good. I felt really good because there was a maturity I was looking for and it wasn't present. And I had a choice, and I had exercised one decision, which led me to the next decision. And I was okay with that. And that's the whole thing. We have to not be afraid to exercise those choices when we know a behavior or a situation doesn't sit right with us. And we have the ability to change that situation by walking away. So yes, yours was much, much deeper and is much, much more hurtful and painful and everything. And the scenario that I'm talking about, I feel is really important because we face these decisions every single day, all the time, with company, with other couples. You get couples who drink too much, or you get situations where you're just not comfortable and you're like, oh, but out of courtesy, I better stay. No, you don't have to stay out of courtesy. Not your cup of tea. Leave. Exercise the courage to make the choice and act on it.
Oh, 100%. And the lack of courage to say no before I did. But that was my insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. And I really can't believe I'd do it today. I really can't believe I would do it today. I wouldn't stay. It's really important. And I think, obviously, in the write-up that I did for this, is it okay to choose to love yourself? And that is exactly what we're talking about here. To love, honor, and respect ourselves. And it is absolutely okay. It's not just okay. It is essential to do it. But I think a lot of people misunderstand what we mean when we say love yourself. Loving yourself isn't a selfish act. It's almost a self-preservation act.
Sarah Jane, I have to say, even more than what you know. So I just have to share this story about how I was with my fiance and we were in Dubai. And actually, at the time, he wasn't my fiance. He actually proposed me in Dubai. And we were at this hotel, and the waitresses who were serving us were these young ladies in their early 20s, mid 20s. And they had the wherewithal to introduce themselves. They were so beautiful, so kind. They were students. They were studying. This was their job that they were doing. But to hear these ladies' stories, and 3 of them had originally been from Kenya, and their traditions had dictated that they stay and remain to have a husband chosen for them, to be a wife, to be a mother, and that was it. And to leave the family and to exercise their own choices of course of study and education and leaving the country to be there in Dubai meant that they would actually were banished from their family. They could no longer be at home. And we talk about the courage to make a choice and the courage to respect your wants, your needs, and what you crave your life to be. And I looked at these 3 young ladies with such admiration to be able to have the courage to say, I want my education. I'll work and do what it takes in order to live and get my education so that I can have a better life other than one that has been placed on me, whether I liked it or not, is unbelievable strength and courage.
Yeah.
And when you talk about respecting yourself, do you see the courage that these women had to say is that I am enough and I am valuable enough to educate. I am worthy enough to have a different life. I am worthy enough to make this kind of choice. And I love you, and even though you are putting conditions on what my criteria is to be with this family, I love you, but I have to respect myself and my wants and my needs in order to execute this. My hat's off to that. And that's what it means to make and understand that it's always your choice.
Absolutely. There are tough choices to make in life. There really are. And none of us do it lightly. or easily. None of us. But I really do feel that when we find the courage to do it, to be true to ourselves, it is amazing how things can move forward for us, how opportunities can open up for us. And we were having a conversation before the program started. And maybe you are going through a quiet time at the moment. Maybe you're meant to be going through a quiet time at the moment. Maybe we should be thinking about, what is it important for us to let go? Because as I think one of the quotes I saw today was, you cannot fill an empty cup. You cannot fill a full cup with anything more. If it's full, it's full. If you don't make way and empty out some of what is no longer serving you, the universe cannot fill it up for you. And the universe abhors a vacuum.
Absolutely. When I'm listening to you, we always talk about being in our own way. And being in our own way, a lot of times is that we don't see the choice. And we don't see the choice because we don't want to make the hard choice. And again, I go back to there's always a choice. And how many times do we say, oh, I have to do this because if I don't do this, so-and-so will feel bad. Oh, I have to do this because everybody in my family will be angry with me. Or I have to do this because my partner will just, he'll go ballistic and he'll be really, really angry that I didn't do it his way. But when I sit back and I look at those three young ladies who had in the face of everything that they believed in, their traditions, their belief system, everything, still made the choice that opened up their world, still made the hard choice of picking up from one country and going and living and surviving in a whole nother country, let alone just across town or for a job. And then I look at some of the excuses that we use in terms of the fact that, oh, well, so-and-so will be upset with me because I didn't do what they wanted me to. We didn't come here to live life under the perceptions and judgments of others. And if you are living a life under the perceptions and judgments of others, you're not living your life, they're living your life. And then the other part of that is that you'll never live up to their expectations. There'll always be something that deems that you're not worthy enough, you're not good enough, it's not good enough, the situation isn't corrected the way it should have been, the way that they wanted, or whatever the case may be, because a perception is not reality. A judgment is not reality. It's exactly what it is. It's a thought that has a condition on it. And you can't live to the conditions because then other conditions come. So this idea of fulfilling your life based on somebody else's judgment, based on somebody else's perception of you, is absolutely absurd. And you'll find yourself spinning around in a circle, or like I like to say, stuck in a story that you can't get out of. And it's like a dog chasing its tail. You're going in circles because nothing's ever good enough. Nothing's ever right. And then you start taking that on as if that's who you are. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I don't bring enough value. The glass is always half empty. It's amazing.
It really takes us into the next bit. Is it okay to say no to others? It's essential to say no to others. Not all the time. I'm not saying every time somebody asks you something, you just got to say no to them. I'm not saying that. But if it's the one thing that I've learned over the years is when you are constantly saying yes to everybody else, you're saying no to you. So you are saying no, You're just saying no in many cases to the wrong person.
But Sarah Jane, so many people don't know how to say no.
Oh no, because especially as women, we have been taught that, especially if you're a mother, which I'm not, sort of I am a sister, I am a daughter, and I am an aunt and a great aunt. So, so I do have a lot of family around me. But yes, and I've been a wife twice, and I love being independent. So, and it was very much, okay, I'm the little woman. I'm the one who's meant to do this, that, and the other. And that was one of the things that eventually it was, I'm out of this marriage. So I work full time, you've worked full time, and I can't run a house full time as well as the job I was doing, because I was an area manager in retail. So it's not as if I was a 9-to-5 job. So it was just, but the no is, sometimes no is the greatest gift you can give and receive. And I think that is what we have to learn. And this is what makes me way more comfortable with saying no, is realizing that when you are constantly doing for others, saying yes to them, you're holding two people back. You're holding them back from standing on their own 2 feet. And you're holding you back from the things that you should really be doing for yourself. So it is really important to say no to those things that do not resonate with you. And I suppose it's the one thing that I can be very blunt about. I am not here to do anything for anybody. I am here to support people, to help them to help themselves. So if you are a doer and you are constantly saying yes and doing for others, you genuinely are harming two people. And that one of those two is you. By all means, support people to help themselves, but help them to do it for themselves. And if they don't like the no, as nicely as possible, tough.
Well, I want to go there because so many people don't know how to say no. I coach a lot of people, and men and women don't know how to say no. And, so what they do is they bend over backwards or they're asked and they justify it by saying, oh, well, this is the relationship that they have to me. And so I have to say yes. And I say, no, you don't. We always have a choice. Go right back to the show. We always have a choice. So how do you get to say no when you really in your heart want to say no, but you're afraid to? You're in fear to actually say no based on the relationship, the impact that the no will have. So my first suggestion to those who are afraid of saying no is take pause, silence. Don't respond right away. The second thing I would say to you is tell them you'll get back to them. That's the pause enough to say, okay, what is the courage I need to gather in order to eventually tell them no? Take pause. Say, I'll get back to you. I have to check my calendar. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. I have to sit with this for a little while and see if it feels right. Those are acceptable answers. I'm not sure. Let me look at my calendar. I'm not sure. Let me look at my schedule. I think I may have something going on. Let me check first. Or I have to check in with myself, not even with somebody else. I'll get back to you. Or a really, really excellent one is I don't make decisions right on the spot. My inclination might be to say yes, but let me get back to you. And I'm saying this because we need to be able to take pause so that we can find the courage within ourselves. And then after you step away from that person, the situation, and everything else, especially if they're aggressive, and then you can come back and then you can say, you know what? I know how important this is to you, but it doesn't sit right with me. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pass on this one. But thanks. No, thank you. Or, hey, I thought about it, but I have too much going on, and I understand this is important to you. You're going to have to look for somebody else if that's your time frame. It doesn't fit with all of the responsibilities I've already committed to. There are ways to go back and say no so that you create and keep the fact that you have a choice.
Yeah.
And this is so important because we're coming from a place of strength.
It is so important. And if you're thinking, yeah, as you said, take that pause. Can you give me a couple of hours? I'll get back to you sort of this afternoon, or I'll get back to you tomorrow. Just need to check a few things first. You haven't even got to specify what you've got to check.
Right.
Sometimes your wording could be, and I was listening to your wording, which is great wording, but I want to check with myself. If you've got an aggressive person, boy, that is going to wind them up. Let's try not to wind people up any more than we've got to. But it's just like, really sorry. No, that really doesn't work for me. Maybe there's an aspect of what you're being asked that you think, yeah, I'm comfortable with that, but I'm not comfortable with the whole thing. You say, I don't mind supporting you with that. I can help you do that, that, and that. But the rest of it, you're going to have to find somebody else, or just find somebody to help you with the lot. But also look, are people asking you to do it? Are they actually abdicating responsibility for something that they should be doing?
Right.
Look at it. Oh, do you think you can come around and do my housework for me, please? No, get on with it and do it yourself. I hate doing my own.
Hey, I need you to run to the store for me, and I need it done by 3:00. Excuse me, you didn't ask me if I had something already going on, and you just assume that I have to drop everything that I'm doing to go do this errand for you and come back. And I'm going to say something, and this is my take from my experience, which is that when you have a bully, they don't care. They don't care. It doesn't sit well with them if you just say no in any respect. Whether you have to check in with yourself or check or sit or whatever. A person who's a bully is going to bully their way into trying to do it, and you really just have to find the courage to stand up to them and say no. But by taking pause, that gives you the space enough at least to push them back or to be at a distance when you say no and maybe not deal with the impact, or give you another means to say no, like, hey, I'm texting you now, or I'm on the phone, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, people will do that.
And I think we've also got to realize is that there are those people who feed off others. And I'm thinking about, I don't know whether you've read it, the Celestine Prophecies.
Oh, yes, I have.
and I hope that people out there have read it. Brilliant. A brilliant story, but actually there is so much truth in there. There really is. I'm sure it was meant to be as well. But there are those people who feed off other people's energies.
Yes.
So if you're constantly being asked to do stuff by somebody that you go away thinking, oh, I feel so drained. Somebody you're dreading seeing. I'm not one of these people who say, look, like, leave relationships. But I would say, seriously think about whether that is a friendship, a relationship that is good for you. It may be good for them. That doesn't matter. Is it a good energy for you?
And you're absolutely right about that. People will utilize you the way you allowed them to.
Yeah.
Period. And I'm sitting here thinking about the fact that Like when you talked about the Celestine prophecy and the fact that I think they call them vampire energy. You know, they have like, they just suck you dry and they leave you with nothing. And the thing about it is that we have to be strong enough not only to say no, but if you get someone who's constantly asking you, like, for example, oh, will you do this for me? You're the only one who knows how to do it. No, I won't do it for you. I will tell you what, though. I will show you one time how to do it, and then you can do it for yourself. But I'm not going to do this for you every time. I don't have the inclination, the time, nor the energy to do this for you all the time. So, would you like me to show you, or would you like to ask somebody else? Or you can hire it out. Which would it be?
Oh,
you have a choice.
Especially in a work scenario.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're in a work scenario and you've constantly got the same person, how do you do this? Or, oh, could you do this for me? And we get to this, we get to the point where, do you know what? It's quicker to do it myself. And then you think, no, actually, I must make the time. Tell you what, this isn't the first time you've asked me. Let's show you how this, I want you to sit with me. We're going to do it together. If you're one of these people who needs to take notes so that you've got those notes to work from next time. Because this is not the first time you've asked me. And it's something you've got to learn. And a brilliant way for people to learn and realize just how much they do know is to then get them to teach somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can actually prove to people that they are better than they think they are. You can boost them and free yourself at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's important. So is it okay to let go of some of what we have been taught? Do I really need to ask that question? The answer to that is, for me, it's yes. Enolia.
Yes. I'm more apt to ask, where's your pen and paper? Because I'm not going to repeat myself when I'm training. It's like, don't even come to me without a recording device or something that tells me that you're recording the information, because unless you have a photogenic memory, we're going to be asking you the same questions again. So let's be proactive about this, So, yeah.
But, you're talking about the young ladies from Kenya.
Yes.
And the fact that they had the courage to say, everything I have learned, and I am actually going to turn around and say, I am unlearning that behavior. I am unlearning that diktat of what my life is meant to be. I am unlearning what I've heard people say about me year in, year out. What I felt people have been telling me, I'm no good, I'm useless, I'm only good enough to be a mother and a wife. Well, actually, do you know what? Mothers and wives are amazing people. And they are human beings, just as husbands are and fathers are. Yeah, let's include the guys here as well, because it's not just the ladies that can unlearn an awful lot of negative that they feel about themselves.
I think in putting it in context of what you're trying to say, especially in the cases of the young ladies in Kenya, is that I am more than just my physical body that is a birth machine. I am more than just a servant under my husband. I am more than just no knowledge and uneducated. And I choose it. I choose to be more than what has been set up for me. And I choose to surpass it. And I choose to do what it takes at whatever cost it takes in order to be more. And, the other piece of this, which plays a crucial role, is our belief system. So, I used the young ladies from Kenya. Their belief system was that that was what a woman was supposed to do. And I don't want to belittle it with that's all, because in the eyes of their parents, that was a great, great fulfillment of tradition. And that was a big deal. But they saw beyond that. And in our lives, we have the opportunity to see beyond what our framework actually has been established for us. Do we dare have the courage to surpass it? You know? So if you think that I can only be a, I don't know, bank teller, and you really deep in your heart want to be the person who runs the bank or owns the bank for that matter, start one yourself. But everyone's not giving you the courage or the support in order to do it. You still always have a choice to surpass that thinking and that story that they've created for you to keep you contained. You know, we have so much in terms of what life offers us. And it's the choices that we make that shape that life. And if you don't get anything out of the show, please get this, that you are capable of making a different choice, giving you a different outcome that helps you evolve and be the best and have the most out of life. Just make the choice.
Yeah.
Find the courage.
And the last comment, last bullet point I put was, can we make a wrong choice? And personally, we can only make choices with the information we have at the time. When we make our choice, make our move on that choice, our knowledge grows. The information we have grows. And we can say, okay, fine. It's not a wrong choice. It was a stepping stone. It's how you treat and react to the outcome of choices. And if you think, oh, I made a wrong choice, I made a wrong decision, it's that power of positive thinking, really, isn't it? It's that, don't go into poor me, go into, what have I learned from this? And what can be my forward step from this choice?
And I look at it this way, Sarah Jane, not only that, you can backtrack and make a different choice and change your mind. I've done it. Come on. Oh, I don't like where this is going. You know what? I changed my mind. I don't want to be here. Oh, gotta go. This doesn't work for me. This does not work for me. I changed my mind. Oh, I'm going right back over there with everyone else, or I'm going right back over there by myself. I don't like where everyone else is going. Whatever the case may be, you can change your mind.
Absolutely. But realize that you sort of take backtrack. You see, to me, once you've taken that step forward, you learn from that step, grown. You can't go back. You can only move forward, but in a different direction. Because you are, for want of a better way of putting it, better than the person who took the step forward. You have grown. So don't see a choice as being a wrong choice. See it as a step. Use it as a stepping stone. Now, it may be a stepping stone that doesn't go forward. It may go left. It may go right. It may appear to go slightly backwards. But it is never going to be, you cannot go back to where you were because you are no longer that same person.
So I want to clarify, because I like to use the term backtrack in the respect that when I made the decision to go right, and then I realized, having gone right one or two steps, that I should have gone left, then I can go back to that same decision and make the other choice and go the direction that I felt, now that I've tested the waters, I should have gone in the first place. And a lot of us are afraid to make that correction or to make the other choice after they actually have an embarrassment, like, oh my God, everybody's going to know that I made the choice to go to the right, and now I'm realizing that I should go to the left. And I don't know if I want to suffer everybody's opinion, perceptions, judgments that I went left when I now realize I should have gone right. And I'm saying to you, you have the right to go back and make that decision and go left.
Have the strength and the courage of your own convictions.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what other people think, because that's their stuff.
And
because they wouldn't have the courage to do what you've just done. That's the only reason they will sit in judgment.
Exactly. And I'm going to give you a life scenario how important this is. A dear friend of mine had gotten married. She had this like whirlwind, met the guy. A year and a half later, they got married. That was fast for her. And she got 6 months into marriage, and she realized that who she had married was not what she had thought. She realized that he was not only manipulative, but he was a parasite. She was doing all the work. She was doing all of the making of the money. He refused to work or used the excuse that he couldn't find work, but wasn't looking too hard. And I remember said to me, oh my God, I have no choice. I have to stay here. Everybody's going to know what I did. And I was like, you always have a choice. Why do you care what anybody thinks? Nobody has to roll over to this situation except you. So what is it you choose? Are you going to worry about what everybody thinks and live your life a certain way because of perceptions that people may have of you? Or are you going to make the correction and catch this early before you lose years of your life, of which people would still have the same opinion, whether you left 6 months later or 8 years later, and correct your life and say, I made a mistake, and move on. You're strong now. You have the courage to do it now. Get it done.
Yeah.
And I watched her not only leave that situation and correct it, and that's what I call backtracking, right? She corrected it. And she is now a successful entrepreneur, has her own business, has phenomenal success in all of the dreams that she wanted to put forward. And now has a definitive criteria by which she dates by and is happy. And that was a very painful situation. We talked about the pain. That was a very painful situation to go through, and people talk because people are not kind. But yet she was able to recover. So again, sometimes we just have to move past the story of the judgment and the perception.
Oh, absolutely. When I broke my second marriage up, I rang my mother and said, marriage is over. And her comment was, and don't get me wrong, I love my mother dearly, but her comment was, but look at what you're giving up.
No.
We had a £5,000 mortgage on our house, and we had that money sat in the bank. We had 4 holidays every year. We owned everything. There was no money owed on anything. What was that in comparison to the fact that it was not me? I was not happy. I was so unhappy in my life. And my mother's reaction, look at what you're giving up. Mother, that's stuff.
Exactly.
I am more important than stuff.
And many people do trade their happiness for materialistic things. Yeah. And for that, I feel for them, because what made us so afraid to live life without stuff? We all start off teenagers, young people, the world ahead of us, nothing accumulated, and going after what we want. And we have the courage to do it and live here, live there, and maybe our value of all of the things we have can be packed in one car, correct? So what is it that 20, 30, 5, 8 years later gets us in such fear to be able to stand on our own 2 feet when we've been capable our whole time? So again, choice.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And for me, it's support people with their choices. Encourage them to make the choice that they feel is right for them. Just because it may not be the choice you make, but no one knows what's going on behind closed doors. Now that's closed doors of a job, of a relationship, of anything. No one knows what's going on in somebody else's life. And nobody knows how the experiences they have gone through throughout their life have shaped them. And so it is really important to say, okay, whatever's going on in your life, if that is what feels right for you, then go do it.
Exactly.
And I have a friend. I wouldn't have. She's not had a friend. I have a friend. It's just that she's not in that relationship with him. And she was in an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And she did end up with bruises and black eyes. And after one such case, she kicked him out. And then she let him back in again. And then she ended up by coming back to me. And she looked at me and she said, and I know you won't say I told you so. Because it had to be her choice. At that stage, that was the end of it. But she had to do what felt right to her at that point in time. And it was her house. And she ended up with a very damaged front door. But she had to make the decision in her own time.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew she could come to me because I would be there for her. In spite of the fact I told her she should get rid of him, but she knew I would stand by her.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is important, is find those people who will support you in your choices, even if they don't think they're the right ones.
Exactly. And that you have to give yourself permission to make a choice, and if it's not the right one, to choose another. And if it's not the right one, to choose another. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
And understand that the answers are right inside you. Your instincts are usually right the first time. Don't take yourself out of it. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about it's your choice. It's your choice. Not somebody else making choices for you. So I think that this is going to be a good point, or that pause when we look at the time. Do you want to finish up with anything, Sarah Jane?
No, I think we've actually covered everything, other than the fact, obviously, to say, as I always do, folks, if you wish to connect with either myself or Enolia, if you have a question about what we have shared here, or there's something going on in your life and you just like a different perspective, or just feel that you've got somebody that might just listen to you and give you the confidence to be true to what you're choosing, then connect with us. If you're watching live now, which I'm not sure we have, but it doesn't matter, email us. giftofhealingtv@gmail.com. If it's for me or Enolia, email address.
It's info@enolia.live.
So connect with us. If you're watching on YouTube, you will find our website addresses underneath. Connect with us through the websites. There's ways of connecting with us through there. You can put a message on the Gift of Healing TV website. I'm sure you can message on Enolia's website as well.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you, but my website, I have to authorize any comments. I get notified of any comments, but on the website, I have to authorize them. So if you want to comment and say, please keep private, then I'll do that. We'll
Absolutely.
answer you, but I won't let it be published on the website unless you choose. You say that's fine for you to publish it, so that's fine. So do connect with us, because at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, or the middle of the day, at the end of the day, as the saying goes, we do these programs because we really wish to support you to live your best life. So please feel free to connect with us if you are looking for some support.
That's what we're here for, and that's what we do. So on that note, I'd like to share with you our next show, which will be on February 11th, 2022, and it will be starting at 5 p.m. That's UK time. And we will have Mr. Chaz Wesley with us, and his conversation to us will be about the new now, loss, grief, coping with a new normal by accepting the truth of the new now. And I'm really excited to have Chaz on. He has a very eclectic background. And so you'll get to learn a little bit more about him on February 11th. And I hope that you'll join us. So until then, if you want to reach out again to Sarah Jane, that's giftofhealingtv.com, and myself, my website, enolia.live. And we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Love, peace, and light. Namaste.
Bye-bye.